How to write a marketing plan. This is part 1, the introduction. Now we are in the second part of our lecture here in how to write a marketing plan. That's part B, walking through the elements of a marketing plan. Let's go into introduction. You're listening to and watching a presentation for marketing management, Antwerp University, Thorsten Strauss. My contact information and profile is in the back of this presentation. Now, where are we in the overview on the plan? So we have 7 parts: introduction, analysis, strategy or strategic part, execution, financial, risk, and additional part. In the academic part, you also have a reference part here where you have the bibliography and reference section, of course. So we are in the beginning of the marketing plan here with the executive summary, and that is really where we're talking. You see on the top that is a little indicator where we are in the marketing plan to keep you oriented. So the executive summary really is the last thing that you want to write here in the do's and don'ts, or do's, what to do with executive summary and what not to do. It's the last thing that you want to write because it's a summary of all the major insights of all the parts. So basically at the conclusion of each part, where you should summarize the insight that you have, the executive summary is the conclusion of all those conclusions. So it's the conclusion on the external analysis, it's the conclusion on the SWOT, it's the conclusion on which strategy to go for, it's the conclusion on how that translates into execution, it is the bottom line summary of your financial conclusion. Talks maybe a little bit about risk and doesn't talk about additional because that's just the appendix. But it is 1 page, not more. It is very action recommendation focused and includes logic. An example would be, for just from the top of my head here, because we have found that the demographics in our target market, which is, and then you mentioned the target market, is growing because of increasing birth rates and decreasing in death rates. We project that within the next 10 years the market will grow by X%. The consumer behavior pattern that is for our product is positive because we have found, and then you mentioned a little bit of data here that leads us to the conclusion on the market is there and plentiful. It is also easy to penetrate because of we have distribution and so on. So this is 1-2 paragraphs, really short, 5-liners, and then you say we have chosen the strategy of lowest cost because we have operational competitive advantage due to our location of the factories in low-cost countries, and that translates into products that are no thrills, that are all unique, that are not differentiated a lot. Therefore we have operations that is mostly inline management, inline operations, not so much variation. We predict a financial return rate of 15% with a net present value of, I don't know, 5 million euros, and so on and so on. You see, it's only the conclusions. What you don't want to do, and what I don't want to see in these papers, is another table of content. You can have a table of content before the executive summary. You know, in the guidelines it says that is not counted, but I don't want to say, I don't want to see, and then we talk about the analysis, and after that we talk about the market, and I don't want to hear what you talk about. I want to hear conclusions. I want to be able to read the executive summary and know your recommendation, where you're getting it from, and I want to have the cornerstone of all your figures in it. Market size, maybe very briefly what you're trying to do and how to get there, how many people you need, how long it will take, and so on the execution. So it is really not a description of the content, it is the summary of the insights of all parts, and not including the main recommendation at the end. And that is something that I have to really stress. There needs to be at the very end, we recommend, or it is recommended, and then I want to see a recommendation that is answering the objective of the marketing plan. If there is a marketing plan such as how do we best reposition golden toothpaste against the new emerging competitor of super white toothpaste, the main recommendation is answering that objective. That needs to be on the executive summary in the bottom. And there needs to be a conclusion on the financials, such as break-even or payback period or return of investment or an estimation of the potential. There needs to be an inclusion of the financials, so that if the CEO reads this, there can be an evaluation on the logic to some extent, of course. There can be a evaluation of how high of an impact will this project have, how much resources are needed, how much will it cost me. That all needs to be in the executive summary. And that is the end of the part. How to contact me? You can contact me on LinkedIn under Thorsten Strauss. I am part of OpenLink, so you can contact me for free. You can find me on Twitter to read some of my marketing feeds, actually, of Twitter. I post them there, as well as on LinkedIn. You can contact me at the University of Antwerpen, Thorsten.Strauss at uantwerpen.be, uantwerpen one word, or under Thorsten.Strauss at howtomkt for market, howtomkt.com. What is my background a little bit? Actually, my tagline is I have 3 worlds experience, meaning highlighting the unique background that I have worked as a marketeer in an industrial setting, including on executive level as part of management. I have worked as consultant or work as consultant still under projects, and I work as lecturer, so combining 3 different types of perspectives on marketing and the challenges of marketing, which is, I think, unique. Then I am German born, educated in the United States, and educated at Copenhagen Business School with an MBA. I worked and lived in the United States for 8 years. I worked and lived in Europe for, 20 something years, 22 years. I worked and lived, not lived, but I worked in the Middle East for over a year very extensively. And I also have done some business and experience in Asia, exposure there with some of the studies at Tsinghua University, the Harvard of China, as well as, of course, production units and suppliers in Asia. I was a product manager in the start of my career, and then marketing manager and global marketing director. I led several projects, numerous projects actually. The 3 most relevant for this class would be a market penetration project, a geographic expansion project, and a global portfolio optimization project. So I'm quite familiar with project planning, and my expertise and core competence is actually strategic planning, strategic process management, and ownership.